So I just finished 2 hours ago, or an hour and a half ago, whatever, watching the Lupot finale, and these are going to be my thoughts on it. Sorry, this is such a weird intro. I just saw somebody. I'm walking and talking Toku here, and I just saw somebody I recognized. Somebody used to work with me. Drive by, and that kind of tripped me out for a moment, so sorry. Anyway, so here I am. This is Matthew, of course, just going up on Recypher. I was thinking about pushing off ARC, or another writer cast, to talk about this, but I'm just going to release this real quick. It's going to be short and sweet, and probably have a nice gif of Dogranio throwing stuff as kind of the background looping as I talk about the episode, or the finale of Lupot overall. So, Lupot was written by, not Kobayashi, she's the better, sorry to be like a jerk about it, but she's the better lady head writer who has written some Toku. Gosh, that was really mean. This is Junko Komura's second show. Her first show was Dobu Tensei, Lupinranger with the Ju-Man with the cubes and stuff. That was a decent show, had some interesting stuff in it. There were some similarities between Lupot and Ju-Ranger, I would say. And gosh, how did she do? So overall, this show, Lupot, was it was decent. Definitely, structurally, it wasn't as good as it could have been, and it wasn't as an exciting ride all the way through for me. I'm talking about my opinion, so it doesn't matter what other people think about it. I thought Zamigo was huge waste. I guess I'll throw out a big complaint here. I like the way the ending turned out. The final episode, all the action in there, of course, is going to be heavy spoilers, where the Lupinrangers were pretty much out of it for the whole thing except for the last little bit, and they didn't have the final battle with Dogranio. I thought that was super cool. The fact that they had the final battle with Zamigo in 49 and 50 and defeated him, and that's a truck driving by, that was okay. It was interesting, I guess. I'm disappointed in the fact that, sorry. Let me put it this way. The way I would have done it, which I think would have been a little more interesting and would have, or it would have been equally interesting, at least as interesting, if not a little bit less interesting, or strike that, flip it. I would have had the Lupinrangers beat Zamigo a while ago, get their loved ones back, and then there'd be kind of a question hanging. Are the Lupinrangers, are they just out for themselves? Are they just selfish? They've gotten the collection, or they've freed their folks. Are they going to help Noel? Or are they going to help defeat the Dogranio and his gangler who are, threatening humanity? What are they going to do? And you could even have them come and help defeat or apprehend Dogranio at the end of the show, like he is in 51, and then leave it up to hey, we're going to steal the rest of the collection so we can help save Noel, or bring back Arsene Lupin. I would have been okay with that, but and I thought that was kind of where they were going, and that would have been interesting. But the way it stood, where Zamigo just kind of lingered and was in the background for so long, it made him feel like such a poor addition to the show. He's such a poorly handled character. I don't know what kind of boxes he ticked or why he was there, really, but the way it played out, just Komura didn't nail it. She didn't land it. And she's so good, because I loved all the characters and I really cared about them. Even Sakya, I felt a lot of sympathy for the guy, and I don't know if I identified with him, because we're totally different people. He's into sports and lots of cute girls and stuff, and I've been married since I met my wife when I was 17, and we've been together ever since then, and we got married as soon as we could, and I'm 31, so I don't know, that's not a part of life for me, dealing with cute girls or hanging out with cute girls. That's, totally, it couldn't be farther from anything I know. not that my wife isn't cute, but she's not girls, and it's, I think, a totally different dynamic from when you're married and with somebody as opposed to when you're single and living a, young, free life or whatever. So anyway, but like, I really felt for all of them. The relationship that she made between Keiichiro and Kairi, I thought was really interesting. Like how they kind of fulfilled a need for each other, or I don't know, they became friends. They genuinely became friends, and I thought that was really interesting. But how Kairi kind of simultaneously kicked against that because of how much he reminded him of his brother, and how much he seemed to appreciate it because of how good of a guy Keiichiro is, just despite being similar to his brother. And then Keiichiro is like kind of just a boring good guy who wants to do good and see good done in the world, and but he genuinely formed a connection with Kairi and the others. Kairi more so than the others, so I'm not really sure why that is. I mean, they did get to spend a little more time together. They had more opportunities to get to know each other than he did with I'm forgetting everybody's names now. Lupin, Blue and Yellow. So, I mean, that made sense to me. I probably like Tsukasa more than Sakuya or Keiichiro, honestly. But, she got to develop a little bit of a relationship with Kairi, and she had like a relationship to all three of the Lupinrangers, or the Lupinrangers, in their civilian forms. Like, I know they all each had their individual interactions with them at the cafe and whatever, but like as a police officer, investigating them, trying to figure out who they were and whatnot, and then looking at the three of them specifically, like she had formed opinions about all of them. And I guess you could say the same for Sakuya, although it was mostly towards Umika. But anyway, I really enjoyed all those things. The fight choreography was great. Honestly, I've been watching, I think I've been watching since Gokaiger, and I haven't stopped. Oh, although I did skip Ninja and Tokyuger, so I'll be honest there. So I don't know anything about their choreography, but I think, like, man, all the Zyuranger fights were, like, pretty much amazing. There was so much dynamic camera movement. And recently when I talked about why I love Tokusatsu, and I was talking about Zio 4, episode 4 specifically, I mentioned, the special effects and how they use the camera and stuff. But really, the way that they move the camera in Super Sentai the last few years, it's just been getting more and more dynamic, and it's incredible. It's been incredible. And, gosh, it just looks so good. And, this show definitely delivers on the direction. The suit designs were all pretty spectacular. Like, everything for me in Lupinranger was Lupinranger, whatever. I mean, let's see. Again, I'm going to lead to that. I'm going to stick a pin in that. I'm coming back to it. Everything in Lupot was really good, except it lacked kind of a cohesiveness. And there were just some dangling things, like specifically Zamigo and his involvement, where he just disappeared from the plot, that didn't work for me. And I've disclosed this, like in my Kamen Rider build, Be the One movie, Be the One discussion review thing. I talk about me being such a peacenik and being like super anti-war and anti-state, and especially being in America. Again, to get political, like the United States empire is like the worst perpetrator of violence on the world, and has been for decades, probably. The whole military-industrial complex. That was actually one of our presidents, as he was going out, he gave a speech, I think, was it Eisenhower? I don't know if it was Eisenhower or not. It's probably not, but one of them. And he's like, yes, beware the military-industrial complex. And then, here we are. So, like, I felt very uncomfortable in the beginning of the show when the Pot Rangers were, police, and they have, like, suppression mode, and they have that special move that, like, made a bunch of Poderman, like, freeze and be unable to move, and they just beat the hell out of them, because, like, that's police brutality. Like, yeah, play a police officer and do police brutality. Even I got over that because of how well the show was written and how moral and ethical and good Keiichiro, Sakuya, and Tsukasa were, and are. So, like, Kamara really sold me on the whole package. But it really did feel like the show was, Lupinranger featuring Patranger. And, like, I either wanted them, I mean, it didn't go the way I expected, so am I mad at it? No, I'm not mad. I'm just explaining why I think it wasn't as good as it could have been. And I don't know if that's me. I don't know if it's fair or not, but this is, my opinions and my thoughts on it. I wonder, I presumed at the beginning of the show that at some point in the middle, they would end up teaming up, like, fully. They kind of have moments where they fully team up with each other begrudgingly, which is fine. But I thought they would begrudgingly form a whole team, a whole unit, and they don't. And I didn't like that at first, but in the very last bit, the last couple minutes of episode 51, where you see exactly what that means with the return of the Lupinrangers and them saying, like, hey, cops, we're going to steal your gear. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I love the continued antagonism between them despite their friendship, because it isn't a true antagonism. And I bet when the Lupinrangers, I bet after a little while they'll ease off and like, oh, hey, we should probably help beat all these deplorable, not Poderman, whatever the Dogranio's group is called, ganglers. We should probably help, apprehend all these ganglers first to make sure they're taken care of. And then we'll take the police's gear. And then if there's any that pop up, maybe we'll throw them a bone and call them up and say, hey, use this, help us defeat this, new gangler threat or whatever. I bet they would do that because that's, they're fundamentally good people. But I really like, it's been a year since they've seen them. And then, Katro is furious. And I saw a comment saying, isn't that erasing all his development over 49 and 50? And I was thinking about that, and I don't really think it nullifies anything, especially because there was a 1 year gap between their disappearance, the disappearance of the original Lupinrangers, and their reappearance. That provides time to heal and time for things to change, and time for what do they say, time heals a multitude of wounds or whatever. I think falling back into that old antagonism or whatever is perfectly appropriate, but I don't think it belies the friendship that they had formed with everybody, because they really cared about them, and you could see that all the way through. I mean, Kichiro, should he have just shot Dogranio and killed them? Probably not. He's apprehended, he's fixed there. It's the thing that's best for everybody for now. And I think it's a good thing. I think it was a moral choice and a reasonable, responsible choice. I thought it was cool that Hilltop basically gave him the green light, though, to kill him if he needed to. But he was definitely apprehendable. And I think, that sounds like a contradiction between me and being anti-police brutality and stuff. I do think, though, there are some situations where you have to kill somebody. Unfortunately, as sad as that is, if life is imminently in danger, you pull that trigger, unfortunately, as sad as it is. But obviously, Dogranio was weakened, and he was able to be apprehended, and Katro did the right thing by doing it. And, I'm cool with that. It's very heroic and noble and good. And, we need those aspirational figures, I think. And I was very happy with that. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap up because I'm starting to ramble a lot, and I'm afraid I'll start coughing if I keep talking too much longer. I really liked the reunion, between the Lupinrangers 1.0 and the Lupinrangers 2.0, aka their loved ones who they had fought for so long to rescue. Gosh, that was beautiful. I was in tears. I wasn't bawling or anything, but the tears ran down my cheeks a little bit. It definitely got very misty if I wasn't full on crying. But I was emotional. It was great. It was moving. It was beautiful. And again, Kimura is a capable writer. I don't know that she wrote this episode for a fact. I'm assuming because she's the head writer on the show. I would hope she'd write the final episode. If she didn't, that'll be an embarrassment. 14 minutes, by the way, if I want to drop in that note about that. But yeah, gosh, it was so good, so enjoyable. I was kind of waiting for the show to be over because I didn't like how things were done. But really, those last couple episodes, they got me going, got me really interested and invested in what was going to happen, and especially the personal struggle between the cops and the robbers. It was really good. So anyway, I'm just blabbering now, so I'll go ahead and stop. except I will not stop because I have to say a couple other things. I really like that Dogranio's got this ability to have all his parts, all the Lupin collection in his safe, and he's got that like extra special power up on it where he can use them all simultaneously, because that means that he's basically like a final form Kamen Rider, because they all, at least since was it Forze or was it actually back to a double? I don't know, but like a lot of final form Kamen Riders basically have access to all their powers simultaneously, but not where they can merge them necessarily, but they can kind of hot swap them really quickly. I think Forze could kind of combine them together. Is that right? I think he could, but maybe I'm misremembering that. Like he could do an ice rocket or a, you know, whatever. But anyway, maybe I'm misremembering that. But that's really cool. I like that Kimura did that. I think she kind of did the same thing in Lupinranger, because the original like super bad evil form that Cetus saves the world from is like a bug monster, and it kind of looks like a Kamen Rider. And then the big bad from there, the gamer guy, the gold dude, turns out to be like a parasite. So that doesn't really match, but at least the original thing that Cetus fought was like a bug man, and that kind of tickled me, and nobody said anything about it at the time in any of the Toku circles I was traveling in. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that. And now I'm really done. Thank you for your time and attention. I'd love to do more of this. Like, share, and subscribe to cheer me on, or give me feedback to make me stronger and smarter. Visit luminousbeings.blog for more. I link everything I do there, so if you want to comment, that's the place where I'll definitely see it.